Hey, Robert, do you think the housing market would be improved if adjustments were made to the stress test? So the qualification criteria that, I guess, permit whether a buyer can buy a home or not.
Short answer, yes. And I can go on for 3 hours about it.
All right, on
But
this episode of Real Estate Chat with
John Perez.
and Robert Eade, we're going to be doing a 3 hour episode. I'm just joking. We're going to be doing a however long it takes for Robert to explain the stress test situation. So for those of you who do not know, the stress test. I mean, for those of you who are watching outside of Canada, I guess, I don't know if other countries have this, but here in Canada, Robert, first of all, explain to our Real Estate Chat viewers who have liked and subscribed to our channel, what is the stress test?
Okay. When interest rates were too low and everybody knew they were too low, the superintendent of financial institutions decided that he was going to do something called a stress test. So that if you were qualifying for a mortgage on a very short term, a variable rate one or a 1, 2, 3, which was far below the 5-year rate, that you were going to have to qualify at a higher rate so that just in case interest rates went up, you would be pre-qualified at a higher rate. And so they came up with a complicated arrangement of equal to the 5-year rate or equal to or your rate plus 2%. And so whichever one was higher, that's what they would use. So it was a way of buffering, of protecting, of ensuring that when interest rates moved from their historic low, which could only be one way, that we wouldn't have a catastrophe of people who were counting on the ultra low rate in order to afford the property. We wouldn't have a catastrophe of banking, which is what this gentleman Rutledge's concern was, because he's the superintendent of financial institution. If financial institutions are lending all this money and they're qualifying people at dirt cheap rate, and then the rate goes up, the financial institution will be at risk. So he can't have that. So in a way, it was an excellent thing. The only thing is the market conditions have all changed. And so I'm suggesting that if the stress test, instead of being the rate that you're getting plus 2%, let's edge down that 2% bit until it becomes you qualify at 5%. Like right now, 5-year mortgage rate is the cheapest one. So nobody's getting the 1%. Nobody's taking the variable because they're the most expensive. And then you have to qualify at 2% on top of that. No, nobody's doing it. It's about the 5-year lock, like 5-year fix is the cheapest. So if we get rid of the stress test gradually, every time the Bank of Canada drops its rate, and we also drop the stress test at the same time by the same amount, we've doubled the effect in the real estate business of the rated interest rate cut, because now people can qualify more readily. Every time there's a quarter, it's like qualifying for a half less until we get to 5% or five-year rate, whatever the 5-year rate is. And then it's just even, Steven. Doesn't matter whether you get 1 year, a variable, or 5-year, you have to qualify at the 5-year rate.
Well, I guess the question is, Robert, is that what they want? Because you pointed out something interesting in this discussion that who is the stress test meant to protect, really? Is it meant to protect the consumer from overspending?
No, it's to protect the lender. This guy's in charge of the financial institutions because it's as if he knows better than the underwriting departments. It's as if he knows better than what the shareholders of the institution know. But he came up with a mechanism so that they could blame somebody else. And so they liked it. They said, oh, it's not us. They want you to qualify her. It's that dastardly monkey in the central government. So it was a good thing because he knew that interest rates were too low. Everybody knew that interest rates were too low. Everybody knew that they're giving you a chance to borrow money at 2% and you got 2% inflation. It's free money. And if you don't buy or borrow as much as possible, you're a fool. And then as soon as interest rates started going up, to lock into for the longest rate you could. But people didn't do that. They waited to the last minute. They waited to the last minute. Human nature. So it was great for its time, but now its time is over. Like the backwardness of that time is now front to back,
Okay.
and we've got to deal with it.
No, so using your proposed stress test adjustment would be beneficial more so to the consumer at this point. Well, consumer meaning real estate buyer, real estate seller, whoever's transacting in real estate. So would these institutions want that? Would OFSI want such a thing to be implemented?
Well, we're not telling them they were wrong. We're telling them to phase it out. They sort of phased it in. Let's phase it out. And we're not asking for anything to happen in a hurry. And I pushed this by, I ran this by a mortgage broker buddy of mine. And he says, yes, there are many people that are trying to figure out the best way to phase this change in the low rate. B20 is what the actual guideline is called, a stress test, how they can phase it out so that nobody gets egg on their face. So there's going to be somebody else's idea that's better than mine. If it's better than mine, fine. Let's phase it out so that everybody is qualifying on the 5-year rate, no matter what term they get. And that's all they have to do.
Well, the idea is to stimulate the market and to encourage transactions, but albeit responsible ones,
Well, this
right?
is the thing. Right now, people who are trying to keep their payments as low as possible are taking a 5-year lock. In 2 years, they're going to find out that was the most expensive money they could have had. Again, it's what's going to happen next, not what's happening now. So the qualifying at 5% or at the 5-year rate, then if you want to take a variable because you think rates are going to come down, you're not given a reason to not do that. You're saying, go ahead, you qualify that same as if we were taking the 5-year lock, but you're going to play your gut hunch that rates are going to come down. So it doesn't hurt anybody and it helps everybody.
Well, there you
Lenders want to put loans out, buyers want to buy, and sellers want to sell, and real estates want to do real estate. So it's getting rid of an impediment that got in the way a little bit at the right time, but now it's really in the way in the wrong time.
There you go. Let's encourage and let's stimulate appropriate and proper real estate transactions to occur and not hinder the buyers who are being hindered right now based on these arbitrary stress tests. Real estate chat viewers, let us know what you think. Robert, final words?
2% is too much at this time.
Oh, clearly, unless they feel that interest rates will go up another 2%.
Unless, of course.
Some of our viewers probably think that that's what will happen based on our
1 or 2%, I'm sure do.
Thanks for watching this episode. Let us know what you think about the stress test and how it affected you. Keep on watching our episodes. Take care and bye for now.
For now.